All right. Shalom Israel. So, one. All right. Well, Shalom Israel. You know what I'm saying? Give me 1 second. Share like in class. Make sure that you are uh, also sharing like in the classes to all your platforms, right? Also, if you leave a comment, share. Put that down. Yeah, make sure that you also leaving a comment. So before all those things, like definitely helps boost the algorithm, push these videos out there. We're all about pushing this truth. That's what we need to be doing. All right, Israel. So before we get started with today's topic, right? There's something I do want to just talk on briefly, and that is uh, the Kendrick Lamar performance, right? Uh, so the performance in of itself, right, which I found was just based on like videos I've seen of some of the other performances that he's put on, was very, what's the word, like tame. You know what I'm saying? It was very tame, very. It wasn't up to what I thought the brother was going to do for the halftime show. I know you got like 15 minutes to really go out to perform, but you seen people do more in the same amount of time than what he did out there. A lot of people will say you got to go back, you got to rewatch it over and over again to catch all of the secret meanings and hints that it has. And here's the thing, like sometimes I don't have to go back. I have to rewatch the video a couple of times to see the bigger meaning. You know what I mean? For that reason, he thought that the halftime show was the best time to that. But if he really wanted to be out there and to push a message, he should have just did that. He should have been out open with it. You know what I mean? He didn't have to. But I feel like I heard a lot of people saying I was at the job last night. Got into it because I said his performance was just kind of it was okay. wasn't the best Kendrick Lamar performance. It was all right. Brother saying that no, it's too deep. You got to go back and look at it again. I think we oftentimes we get stuck in things that we call so-called deep. You know what I mean? Or it's very woke performance. You won't get it unless you're woke. Which is also, you know what I'm saying, something seeing of itself. Like those are things that we have to kind of wake up from, right? This whole notion of being woke. Now, a lot of y'all claim to so-called be woke and you're awake and you're whatever, but you're still dreaming. You know what I mean? You're still like following something that's simple in a way. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if I'm putting it out there the way I want to put it out there. I'm just saying that Kendrick Lamar's performance was, you know what I'm saying? It was a little lackluster. I think that's the word I was looking for. And some of y'all who claim that you understood the message. My question is, okay, you understood the message. Now what are you going to do about it? He put the message out there, so what are then the next steps? What will you do? How will you take hold of that message? How you going to now stand up for your people? That's my main question I really got for everybody that's out there that claims this performance so good and it was thought provoking. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to watch it back. You watched it back. You got the message. So what now? What do we go from there? In this verse, I heard from Captain Zarya earlier, and I do want to pull it out here in the book of Ezekiel, the 33rd chapter, and start at verse 31.
This is the book of Ezekiel. You said chapter 33.
Constant. Yeah.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 33, and verse 31. And they come unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people, and they hear thy words, but they will not do them.
Right. So the Bible says, you come before thee, you hear the word, but you would not do them. So right now, taking this off of us as priests for example, and using it towards Kendrick Lamar for right now. So you went to the Super Bowl, watched it there live. You were at home, you watched it there at your crib or at the bar, wherever you was at, and you heard Kendrick Lamar's message. But it says what that says, but you would not do them. Continue.
For with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goeth after their covetousness.
Right. So with your mouth, you show a lot of love. So how many times have you seen brothers say, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Y'all, I see what y'all like to do. I feel what y'all like to doing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all put in the work, man. I agree with y'all. You know what I'm saying? How can I connect with y'all? It's a lot of word service. You know what I'm saying? You talk a good game, but you gotta put the action behind it. A lot of y'all talk a good game. A lot of y'all hear Kendrick's message. You're not gonna do it though. You're gonna say how much you love his performance, how much he did for the people with that performance, and then you're not gonna do nothing. You're gonna sit at home and continue doing whatever drug you're doing, see who you're sleeping with, but you're not going to put actions to word. Team to verse 2.
32.
Yes.
Verse 32. And lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song of one that hath a pleasant voice.
Right. You're unto them as that has a lovely song, that one that has a pleasant voice. That's what Kendrick Lamar, that's all he is to y'all. Just somebody who's really good at rapping. That's it. That's all you care about, is that Kendrick Lamar is a good rapper. That he had a good performance at the Super Bowl. That's it. You don't care about the message. Let's keep it a stack. You know what I'm saying? How many of y'all really care about the message? You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all gonna say that you do, but then you really don't. You know what I mean? Continue.
And can play well on an instrument, for they hear thy words, but they do them not.
Right. So Kendrick Lamar can get on a very good beat, rap very good on that beat. You know what I'm saying? You can hear many of so-called country rappers can make a good beat or talk to somebody who make them a fire beat, put all the messages they want in the songs, but you would not do them.
Hey, you know what's funny about that? Just this precept here just reminds me of when Andre 3000 said, "Y'all don't want to hear me, y'all just want to dance."
Right.
Because really, this analogy is perfect because, like, just I know we're talking about the music right now, but like even on that song, "Hey Ya," that song really in the song that you should be dancing to.
Right.
You know what I mean? The song is
true.
damn near about like a heartbreak. You know what I mean? But it just goes to show you just the mindset of our people, you know, and the way that of course, this scripture is talking about us not listening to the Most High. Like the words sound good, but we just, you know, we don't really care about what's being said. We just want to vibe to it,
right?
Get out of it. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing. Like you making that comparison to with Kendrick Lamar, because a lot of people saying, "Oh, it was so deep. It was so deep what he brought out," and you know, all these breakdowns. But they're gonna probably while they're rolling up a blunt, they're talking about.
Right. Exactly.
They're not gonna come together. They're not gonna unify. They're not gonna stop being the stereotype, which is what was pointed out in that performance. They're not gonna stop. It's just it's gonna be business as usual. So it's a lot of
it. So no, thought for that. So no, that's exactly it. Like I said, that's why I wanted to use that scripture kind of to show the people, you know, like Kat said in the Car Chronicles, you know what I'm saying? As I'm repeat now, as I felt, you know, after kind of watching it. Like I said, the performance was good. It wasn't a bad performance at all. But I did feel like for Kendrick Lamar performance, it was lackluster. And for the message that was in there, everything like that, it was okay. But I know a lot of y'all don't really care about the message, or you care about talking about the message. It's good. It's good to talk about things. That's all you have to do. All you do is talk, have a conversation. But then it's different. It's different to put action to words, right? It's different. Once now you got to actually do what was said. Now you got to actually come together and be a people, and that a lot of y'all just won't do. Y'all won't put action to the words. You won't do it. So much as y'all claim it was deep and this and that, much as y'all want to look to Kendrick Lamar as being, you know, this brother that's high up there, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I like Kendrick Lamar music. I do. No, so I definitely like his music. I listen to him a lot. But that doesn't change the fact that where we are as a people, you know what I mean? Means absolutely nothing if you don't take heed to what the message was and then do that. But with that, like I said, I just want to get on that for a minute. So we're going to jump into today's topic, which is, do we still have to follow the law? Right? And that's something that people battle with us a lot, and it's keeping the law. And a lot of people say that we can't keep the law because we're not in the land of Egypt. We're not in the land of Israel, so we can't keep the law. But I don't remember the Most High saying that you have to be in the land of Israel to keep the law. You have to show me where it said where the Most High said you have to only obey the laws in Israel. So I'll be willing to wait, you know, see if you bring it out. And for you to show me, we can go to Deuteronomy the 28th chapter, just real quick.
I sent some precepts to his messenger too.
Come on.
Deuteronomy 28 and what?
See. That's not what I want. It's just I think it's X sock. See this real quick. We just started at verse 1.
Deuteronomy 28 and 1.
Counts.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Most High thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Most High thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Right. So Most High said, "You shall hearken diligently unto the voice of thy God to observe to do all His commandments." Right. It doesn't say to hearken unto His voice and do His commandments only in the land of Israel. It said wherever you go, wherever land you live in, you have to follow these laws. Right. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Right. They're given to us for a reason. Most High gave us these laws to follow. Why? Because He cares about us. That's right. We were the one that He chose to put His name on. And so when you're here in America, all you have to do is follow if you follow the laws of God, you'll just naturally follow the laws of America. Most of them. You know what I'm saying? You don't kill, you don't steal, you know what I'm saying? You don't rob people. Laws that some of these laws are just basic laws that you find throughout all civilizations, right? Because nobody really wants a lot of people that are murderers, people that are thieves. You know what I'm saying? You can't build a civilization off of things like that. So you put in place these rules for people to abide by, and that's what a lot of people. What I realize have a problem with when it comes to the Bible is they feel like and believe that the laws are only in place to control you. But any law in any country is there to put in place to quote unquote control you. Because if you were to listen to your base nature, you'll do many of evil things. I watched the video earlier on an anime, kind of side note, but it's going to tie back in. Now this video was like a video essay on this anime called Hunter x Hunter, and talking about the main character who's on a journey to find his father, but he's going to become a hunter on the way there. And this character is presented in a way where you're supposed to root for him, but all his actions are actions of selfishness and the only way he can accomplish the well-beings of his friends be damned. I mean, if his friends get hurt on the way to him accomplishing his goals, so be it. If they put their life on the line for him like that, he doesn't care. And we're led to believe, throughout the story, that this is the way that you should be, but the story is telling you that this character is very, very selfish, and he lives by a way with this called a person like he's supposed to be like Tarzan. Tarzan grew up with the apes, so he don't know the ways of apes. This person only knew on a small island how to live with nature. I don't know if you ever saw like Animal Planet, Animal Kingdom, watch videos of nature out there, or just watched it yourself out in public. Just watch some ants or spiders or something, how they deal with each other. Some of these animals are very cruel, and their only desire is their next meal, or completely maiming another creature for no reason other than they can. A lion will see a hyena, and it will maim the hyena so it can't walk, so it can just lay there and bleed out to death. An orca will find a seal, bite it, and then throw it up in the air out the water as high as it can. Or it'll find a great white shark and just bite the shark and let the shark just bleed out. No reason other than it can. That's where a lot of y'all will fall if y'all were just to say, well, we don't need laws and rules to live by. When you actually do. It's for your own benefit as well as the benefit of others. God, listen, hit this phone so sensitive. We could get Deuteronomy chapter 4. Start at verse 5.
This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
Right. This is what I was looking for earlier before 28. So wherever you go to possess it, you know what I'm saying, you're going to do as the Most High says. In this case, this is where we're going in to get our land of Israel, right? Remember, they've already been out in the wilderness, you know, for 40 years. So wherever you go to possess it, that's where you'll keep the law. Now, we're here in America, so as we're here in America, you're still going to keep the law, right? Most High's giving us these statutes and commandments to keep them. Continue.
Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
Right. So once I said keep them and do them, for this is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations. So a lot of people don't realize that when you're out and about, right? How you act, how you carry yourself is how they feel like your whole people carry themselves, right? It's why you know, as people, when somebody goes out and acts a fool, you know, the whole thing last year, they had the sisters that were going to the airport in the bonnets and like almost like in the pajamas, like the small top with like the booty shorts on. They're going out to the airport, and you're like, hey, put some clothes on, look presentable. You got other people saying, why y'all worried about them? Listen, we what's people like to say? We're not a monolith. All right, but what you do represents me. All right, when people see you, when people see how a black woman acts, they feel like that's how the black man acts as well. But this is how a black man acts crazy. They feel like that's how black women act as well. What you do out there as a people reflects upon everybody. Listen, we already know when a mass shooting happens, what do we say? With some crazy white man. And we look at white people as crazy and as mass shooters, because why? Because the majority of the mass shooters have been what? Been white men. And so now there's that stigma, there's that thing that's on them, that we all know them for being people who will go out and just mass unalivings for no reason, other because they can. So how you carry yourself is absolutely crucial to how you see how you're being seen. And when you keep the commandments, right, and you do them, you understand, you do them, the other nations will see that, and they'll see how, they'll see and notice how you carry yourself. Right, keep going.
Middle of verse 6. For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes, and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Right. So they're going to hear this, right? They're going to be amazed about how we move. They're going to be amazed at how we deal with each other. Then, like most people, they're going to inquire, why is that? Why is that? They're going to hear the breakdowns of our law, statutes, and commandments, and they're going to be like, these are a wise people. But right now, that's not what they think. They think that we are, bottom of the barrel, we're low. You know what I'm saying? Don't interact with black people. Don't interact with the Hispanics. Don't interact with the Native Americans. Those people are savages. All right, they're dumb. They got some of the lowest IQs. They're not very smart people. You know what I'm saying? They're a bunch of other things. Y'all already know what's been said about us. So not something I have to go into. But this is why keeping the law is important, because one the Most High told you to do it. That's all you need to hear from there. And two, it's so that way people can see how wise we are as a people, and the dignity that you will carry in keeping the law. Right? What's say? How the Christians say all the time? Supposed to be a light to the nations. Supposed to be a light to the world. Listen, when you follow the law, statutes, commandments, when you walk around, you are that light. You know what I'm saying? If you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native American, when you follow these law, statutes, commandments, you are seen as different. People just know that you're different. And it's a mystery to them. And a lot of times they do want to know more. Like, oh, what do you do? Why do you do move the way you move like this? Why do you talk like this? Because people at work be like, hey, I know you was. The first said to me, I know you was a Black Panther. We usually I was like, I'm not a Black Panther, but they could see that I don't really move how they move. When they found out that this is what I do, they're like, oh, okay, we understand now. When you follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, you'll be so intriguing to other people. And this is why. Continue to verse 7.
Verse 7. For what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great, that hath statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day?
Right. So that's the question they're going to be asking, you know what I'm saying, in that time, right? Listen, you'll only be seen as this way if you follow what the Most High said for you to do. There is like no way around that. Right? And so this is why I asked, do we still have to follow the law? We do. Now, what would your pastor tell you? Pastor of the church might tell you that the law is done away with. And we ain't got to keep the law. That you can eat shrimp, crab, and lobster. Right? That for you not to worry about any of that. Here's why you shouldn't listen to us pastors. I can get Isaiah 66. Show you why you. This is the reason why you should keep the law. One is that you want to make your election sure. You don't want the Most High to have a reason to have to have an ought against you or a punishment against you, right? You want to be blameless.
Verse.
The one where they eat the swine flesh.
You want to start at 17 or 15?
Yeah. Start at 17.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 66 and verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens, behind one tree in the midst.
So like I said, that's my slide. Let's start at verse 15.
Isaiah 66 and verse 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire.
Right. So the Most High, you know what I'm saying, this is a future text for, I don't know, saying this is a future prophecy. This is what's going to happen. Most High is going to pour out his anger upon the earth. It's going to come like fire. You know what I'm saying? We've anybody that's read the Bible know that the Most High promised never destroy the world again with water. So besides water, we know that he's going to destroy this world again, but this time with fire. And this is why his anger is going to be like fire, like the world. When he's going to rebuke everybody that's upon the face of the earth that has put their hands against the children and those who have continued in sin. Continue.
For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many.
Right. So the Most High is not like me and you. His pleading isn't, can you please stop doing this? Please stop doing that. The Most High is going to just listen. He's giving you the time to follow the law, to come back, to change your ways, to follow him. Now, the way he's going to plead with you now is just destruction. Like I said, the slain of the Lord shall be many. Many will perish. Like I said in Amos, right? The day of the Lord is as darkness. It's going to be a very dark time when this comes about. You know what I'm saying? There'll be a lot of fear going around about. But in the midst of all of that, though, you know what I'm saying? You will have people that will be They're going to perish. You know, 'cause one, a lot of these people that you read right now decided they didn't want to follow the law. 17.
Verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh.
Say again?
Eating swine's flesh.
So we know that in Leviticus it tells you what is clean and what's unclean. Eating swine's flesh is unclean unto you. You cannot do it. It is a sin. And this is your punishment. This right here is what's going to happen if you're caught sinning in that day. And some of you might think that it's just swine flesh. It's not that big of a deal. To who? That's what I don't want to know. Who said it's not a big deal? The Most High said that you're not supposed to eat it. So you just don't eat it. But since you want to disobey the Most High, you still want to eat it. When you're caught on that day eating swine's flesh, continue.
And the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord.
Right. You're going to perish in that day. That's what's going to happen. You're going to be at church, you know what I'm saying, on that Sunday, right? After you praised and worship, and gave the last penny of your money to the pastor, and y'all go back to the kitchen back there, and you're going to pass out food to everybody, and you're sitting there, you're smiling, you're having a good old time, you're eating your pork chops and whatever else, you're eating some shrimp, crab, and lobster that you might have brought to the church that day. And on that day is when the Lord sends Christ back, and then this world is consumed by nuclear fire. When this country is destroyed by way of nuclear holocaust. That is what's coming, right? It said that you should your mouth and tongue, with fervent heat. Fervent is very, very hot. Your eyes are going to melt. You know what I'm saying? Your tongue is going to melt in your mouth. Your bones are going to just melt off your body. You're going to be sitting eating your swine's flesh. In the midst of you eating that pork, in the midst of you eating the shrimp, you're out with family, is the day that you perish. Constant.
And Salaka, just to your point, right, where a lot of people will make the excuse, well, why would God care so much about what I eat? And like you said, I think you said that they make the statement, it's not that big of a deal if I eat this pork. And like you said, to who? Because to you think it's not a big deal, but the Most High is not like us. The scriptures say that the Most High is not going to meet us as a man. It says that our ways are not his ways. So trying to justify what you think is right, well, a lot of people think a lot of things are right. That doesn't mean they're right.
Right.
And you would think something as small as swine, you calling it small, but to the Lord, it's a big enough deal that he mentions it multiple times in the scriptures. You think it's small that the scriptures, that the Most High put it in his law not to bald your head or to get that line up or to shave your beard off. You think that's a small thing, but the Lord saw fit for that thing to be written in a book that is the most famous book on earth that everybody has. So
right.
He saw fit for it to be in there. Who the hell are you to say, oh, well, that's not really that big of a deal? God decided to put this thing in the book. It's a reason why it's in there.
Right. Concept, the order for that, like I said, like who you to decide it? You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people think that they're right, but in times you're not. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, the world agrees that what Hitler did wasn't right, but in his mind, he thought he was right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There are people who do evil things because they think that they're right. That doesn't mean that. Constant.
Salaki, and I apologize for cutting in, but I was talking about that yesterday. Morality in the eyes of the world is subjective. Like my personal morality might be 100% different than somebody else's personal morality, which is a perfect reason and example as to why we need the Bible, because the Bible says, forget what you think morality is, because like you said, Hitler thought morality was exterminating the Jews, right? Yeah. The KKK thinks morality is exterminating the Jews and the black people and the Mexicans, because those people don't deserve to live. They're evil. That's what they believed about us. If we went by their morality, we'd all be dead. So the most important reason why we need the scriptures is because instead of us relying on our own thoughts and feelings and our own morals, the Bible outlines these morals for us. So now we ain't got to do no thinking. The Lord say eating swine is wrong. It's wrong. So much so that we just read that he's going to put you to death for it if you're still doing it when Christ returns. And so we just follow that and everything will be all right. Which the answer to your question for the title of this class is, do we still have to keep the law? Hell yeah, we still got to keep the law. Unless you want to end up like these cats in the last time.
Sir. The water for that, sir. Yeah, exactly. No, saying you, sir. Yeah, we're like I said. The title, you know, saying was some people might ask, but it's definitely rhetorical, meaning that you still have to keep the law. You know what I'm saying? Bible makes that abundantly clear that, you know what I'm saying, that you have to live by these law, statutes, commandments, right? And if you do, you know what I'm saying, listen, there are people who live by this law, right, and have been known to, you know, do some of the most miraculous things, or just, you know, not even meet death the same way others meet death. In the case of like Enoch, right, in the Old Testament, it said that Enoch walked with God. And then when his time came, he didn't pass like everybody else passed. He was taken away. You know what I'm saying? How look how this, look just how you know what I'm saying, of amazing, even though it was like a couple of verses in Genesis, it's still an amazing thing. Because why? Because he kept everything that he was told to do. Same thing with Noah. Noah was perfect in his generation, because Noah kept the law that was given unto him. And a lot of people might want to ask and might want to understand what the law is. But before I get into that, I'll probably end it with that, trying to try to understand what is the law, right? Because a lot of these times right here in America, especially, they have a thing where, you know, the whole what's it called? Abortion was a big topic, and when people say that, you know, unaliving is wrong, they say because God says it. The first thing a lot of these feminists go to and these atheists go to is they talk about, you know, Adam. He says like, oh, well, you know, life don't start until you get your first breath. So until you come out the womb, you know, you're not alive. Or like, I'm saying this because this is like one of the dumbest things that I've ever heard somebody say. And they said, well, you know, in the womb it's just a fetus. It's not a person. It's not a human. Which is one of the most asinine things that you can say. No, like, you throw out all logic. You throw out all reasons and things like that, reasonable judgment, for what? So you can continue to unalive a baby. Listen, if you're caught having an abortion in that day, you're going to perish. I want you to understand that you are the woman out there, you get pregnant, you can't have the abortion. If you say, oh, that man, you know, saying I didn't mean to sleep with that man, but you slept with him though. You know what I mean? A lot of women will bring up, oh, what if it was unconsensual? Right, but the baby don't have to suffer because of that. Get counseling. If you're one of our sisters, you know, so you're so-called Black Hispanic, Native American woman, you can get counseling. You know what I'm saying? We'll help you through it. But the baby is still innocent in all of it. And continue on, where people said that people go out and say that, you know, a fetus is not a human being. And then what I heard was that they say, because why is it in the womb is the baby? Is it in the womb is called a fetus. When it comes out, it's a baby. Like you don't understand the different names for stages in life. Listen, when you look up a human in the dictionary, right? or you look it up in the what is for species. What's it? What they call it? Homo sapien? What's it's called? That baby and that woman is a Homo sapien, right? Giving y'all the scientific term, right? Just because it doesn't look like what you look like now does not mean anything. Who's ever seen frogs? You ever seen frogs give birth? You see a bunch of what we call tadpoles. Now, let's say that frog is a poison dart frog, right? You see the tadpole. It's going to grow up and change and become a poison dart frog. All it is one stage of life progressing into the next stage of life. You go from, fetus to baby to toddler, to child, to teen, to adult, to senior, to elder.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The way that some of y'all out here try to explain it, it's almost as if once you're done with adulthood, so-called, and you reach a certain age, you should be unalive because now somebody has to take care of you again. Now you're like a baby when you become a senior citizen, you become an elder. The logic that a lot of people use just doesn't hold up to scrutiny. Well, like I said, we're going to come back to that in a minute, explain what the breath of life is. But our people really do want to serve the Most High, right? They really do. They feel like they want to, especially those who are in the Christian church, who say that they're all about God, because there's no more people that are more about the Most High, more about serving God than blacks and Hispanics and natives. Nobody else. We will completely abandon everything else about our people in order to serve that white Jesus. I'm not making it up. That's just how it is. Our people will do anything and everything to serve the white Jesus. This is the book of Romans, chapter 10 and verse 2. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. So a lot of people, they feel like they want to serve the Most High, right? But they're not doing it in the correct way. Why? Because you were taught your whole life in the Christian church or wherever else that you grew up in on what it means to serve God. You think that, going to church means giving the church your last penny. You know what I'm saying? That you think serving the Most High is giving the pastor all your money. You know what I'm saying? I always thought it was crazy that, when I went to New Baptist Church, I only went to that church like 2 or 3 times. Now as a teenager up in Atlanta. I went to church a few times. You know, so I always wanted a friend who him and his mom went there. I found it amazing that as you're passing through these towns that you would call the ghetto, you just come across this huge church that's just behind all that. And then I thought, and I was like, well, this church is so big and they make all this money because you got to have money to have a church this big. Where's all that money going? You know what I'm saying? You go there every day because you in your mind think that you're serving the Most High. But you're not. A lot of people have a zeal. They want to. They do. They want to serve the Most High, but you've been taught in the Christian church or some other fake Israelite group about what it is to serve the Most High, and they're wrong. You get told by people that you don't have to follow law, statutes, and commandments. You don't have to follow God, or that the laws are done away with. But I just want to know who said the laws were done away with. That's the question that I have to ask. Who said that the laws were who said that you no longer have to obey the laws? Right? That's the question that I have on the floor. If you let me know, you show me where it says you no longer have to obey the law. A lot of people will run to the schoolmaster. That's like the get out of jail free card. That scripture about the schoolmaster. You can pull that scripture up real quick, sir.
Okay.
A lot of people say like, the schoolmaster is done. We're on a new school now, so we don't have to obey the law. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't make sense when Christ told you that you have to obey the law. A lot of y'all say that Christ told you not to obey the law no more. So you calling Christ a liar? Are you saying Christ is two-faced? He don't know what you're talking about? He's schizophrenic? I think a lot of people say things, they don't even realize what they're saying because they just, in their minds, they know that they can't be wrong. Because they're wrong on this, they realize that they have to realize that all the things that they've ever thought and known and grew up believing, it's also wrong. Right? And sometimes it's okay to admit when you're wrong. Not just sometimes. When you're wrong about something, it's okay to say, look, mate, yeah, I was wrong about that. I didn't know. He might not have known. And there's nothing wrong with that. Listen, when I talk to people, sometimes I feel like, you know what, let me ask some people so I get a clear understanding. People say, isn't this what you study? Shouldn't you know? Well, listen, as a human being, right? As a human person, you forget sometimes. Something might slip your mind. It might not be on the forefront. It might be on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't quite get there. So it's okay to be like, you know what? Let me get back to you on that. And not as a very smart move versus looking stupid and saying something you be completely wrong about it. Listen, even people who you call like the smartest people would tell you, listen, man, I don't know that just yet, but let me talk to somebody that I know that I do know the answer to that. I mean, and that's just how that's how it's supposed to work, right? It's supposed to work to where you can just admit it. Listen, I was wrong on that. It's just what the Bible actually says, but because you're so indoctrinated in this country, right, that your mind can't break free of the shackles that this country that our oppressor has placed upon your mind, that you can't fathom your oppressor being wrong about the Bible. You can't fathom it. It's unthinkable to you. Like I said, but you have to just ask yourself, where. Like I said, the question still stands. Whoever can answer is like, no, just tell me where the Most High, where Christ said that you don't have to follow the law anymore. What did you ever say?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, good.
It's the book of Galatians, chapter 3, and verse 24. Wherefore the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Christ, that we might be justified by faith. But after that faith is come, we are no longer under a schoolmaster.
So people, where's that part? It's like good to.
It's Galatians 3 and 24.
I went right past it. So wherefore the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Christ, that we might be justified by faith. But after the faith is come, we are no longer under a schoolmaster. So a lot of people like to go to the scripture and say, see, we're no longer under the law anymore. We don't have to obey the law no more. Like this is no longer, what Christ taught no longer applies to us because Christ came. And Christ did away with the law. Once again, I have to ask you, when did Christ say he did away with the law? Listen, the schoolmaster, if you correct me if I'm wrong about where I mess up at, sir. The schoolmaster was just saying that the punishments of the law that you were under. Right? You were under that the harsher the slacking. Trying to get it right. The law, such commandments that you were under, those are all the punishments that came along with it. When Christ comes, right, and then after faith is coming, we're no longer under a schoolmaster. Christ came to show you how to fully obey the law in the spiritual sense, because we was at the law in a physical sense, in a very carnal sense, and we followed it as that. Christ came to bring you the spirit behind the law, how to follow it that way.
Yeah, and you're correct. Like a schoolmaster would be like a principal, like the disciplinarian of the school. In this analogy, But even the way that a Christian will try to break this down, they'll try to say, well, the law being a schoolmaster is like a teacher. And we only needed that because we didn't have Christ. But now that we have Christ, we don't need that anymore, which is not true. Because if you really look at it in that sense, we can just go with what they're saying, that the law is a teacher. So that means that the law is given to instruct us on how to be. The only thing Paul would be saying here is that because now we have the faith in Christ, now we're going to keep the law naturally because we have the faith in Christ. That's all he's saying. So whether you give the real definition or you go along with the Christian's definition, it still only means that we're going to keep the law naturally now because we have Christ. That's all that means.
Constant. That's the one point I always see them run to is that verse right there. Is their main argument for why we don't have to keep the law. But let's see what Christ said about keeping the law. If I can get Matthew's 5 and 17.
Is the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 17. Think not that I have come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
All right, so Christ even said out of his own mouth that think not that he has come to destroy the law or the prophets, right? But to fulfill. And people will say that, oh, Christ did it already. He already fulfilled. When he died on the cross, that was the fulfilling. Everything is done. He gave us blood, and Christ, through Christ's blood, that strengthens me. I can do anything, including eat pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, sleep with whores, do all kinds of drugs and things like that, and Christ will still love me. Listen, that's not why Christ died. He said right here himself, he did not come to destroy the law or the prophets. So everything that the prophets and the law said before Christ came still applies. You still have to follow. You still have to follow the law. Right? There's nothing that was changed with that. To verse 18.
Verse 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled.
Right. And the Most High said that the earth abideth forever. All right. This planet isn't going anywhere. All right. The stars say the heaven isn't going anywhere. The earth isn't going anywhere. And because the Most High said the earth abideth forever, these laws, statutes, commandments will always be here. We'll always follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. Right? That's it. For God saying to you so this is Christ is saying that saying that you're always going to have to follow the law. Law is going nowhere. Continue to verse 19.
Verse 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments.
Right. So Christ is letting you know that if you break the least of these commandments, right? People think that eating pork is very small. Like I said earlier, I don't want to also elaborate on who said that it is small. You said it is small. Christ don't think that any of the law is small, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Because you break the least of these commandments, you might as well have broken them all. Because you break what you think is the least, you'll break what you consider is the greatest. So if you break the least of these commandments, continue.
And shall teach men so.
Right. You break the least commandments and you teach other men to break these commandments, what a lot of your pastors have done, a lot of your imams have done, a lot of your people in these fake Israelite groups have done. Right. People who want to break away from the church but still hold service like a church. that was like something that was like odd to me when I first was looking into the truth. If I came to the school, and I was seeing, I can't remember the name of the group. But the guy still had a service like he was a pastor still. But he was saying that I'm an Israelite, that we're Israelites, and then our brothers out there don't want to give our laws to everybody else. But he's still holding service like a pastor with the music and the passing around the tithe bowl. You know what I mean? It's like still holding it as a service, but still preaching that certain laws are done away with. Which was to me was kind of odd. I was like, so you can't really feel like you're Israelite if you're still thinking that you can still do certain things. For what I gathered, that you have to follow these laws. You have to follow all of them. You don't get to pick and choose. except for when you go to certain places and they say that you can pick and choose. It doesn't work that way. You've not only have you broken these commandments, but you've taught other men to do so as well. You've led these men astray, and their blood is on your hands. Continue.
He shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
Right. He should be called least in the kingdom of heaven. This shows that there is a hierarchy to heaven, that you can be considered the least. But the Christian church tells you that we'll all be equal in heaven. That when the Most High comes and he delivered judgment, and then if you make it to heaven, that we're all equal in heaven. But which I was still kind of which I'm still always been kind of unclear on, that when Most High sends Christ back, then we all then pass away and go to heaven and we're there forever, or then just the earth just transform into heaven. I was never quite clear on how that worked. But as you see in the kingdom of heaven, right, which will be on this earth, right, that if you do what it says right here, you break the least commandment and you teach men so, you'll be the least, right? You're going to be the lowest in this kingdom. Continue on.
But whosoever shall do and teach them.
Right, but if you do the opposite, right? If you do the commandments, you keep all the commandments, and you teach men and women to keep the commandments as well. Continue.
The same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
That's right. So now, if you keep the commandments, you teach men to keep the commandments, now you'll be called great in the kingdom of heaven. You know what I'm saying? Once again, there really isn't any equality upon the face of this earth when you look at it and you think about it, right? You know what I'm saying? You have a decision to make, right? You can either be the least in the kingdom, you can be the greatest in the kingdom, the great in the kingdom. But you can't have it both ways. You can't think that you can be out here teaching our people to sin against God and God just be okay with it. You can't think that you can continue doing what you're doing and then think that when judgment comes, that the Most High be like, you know what? Even though you taught my people to eat pork, even though you taught my people that a man should leave his wife, divorce her, and marry another, and leave that one behind, even though you said that it was good to do those drugs, you can still be great in my kingdom, man. You're good to go. It doesn't work like that. You can't share anything that the Most High will just be like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you right there. Up to the last minute, you were doing the wrong thing. You're eating swine's flesh. You're eating mouse. You're eating possum. Even though you knew and you read it, especially if you're a pastor, you went to theologian school or to you went through the whole process of being what do they call it in Catholicism, in the Catholic Church? What do they call it?
Some of the people that are ordained to teach.
Yeah,
I can't recall the name of it.
Okay, well, you're like a father or a ordained priest in the Catholic Church. I can't recall the name of them, but you know what I'm saying. But even though they've done their dirty deeds, you know what I'm saying, you've touched upon those little boys, you know what I'm saying, and you done such horrible acts. How can you think that if you continue to do these things up until Christ returns? Now remember, you don't know when Christ is coming back. None of us do. It could be tomorrow, right? It could be 2 hours from now, for all you know. As a matter of fact, when I finish this class, I can walk out that door and Christ be coming right back then and there. So you don't know when that time has come. Just know that if you're continuing in that sin that you're on, that the Most High will destroy you for it. You know what I'm saying? There is no ifs, ands, buts about it. So do you still have to follow the law? You still have to follow the law. Christ said you have to follow the law. Right? Christ didn't say that you can pick and choose which laws to follow. And saying that's where like your people who are in positions of power who don't want to lose power have corrupted, the law has made it. You know, what I'm saying, as my way said, He's made it into a lie. If I can get that too, sir, real quick. Who's made the word of God into a lie? I believe is it in Job? I believe.
I think what you're looking for is in Galatians.
Galatians.
That's in the book of Romans.
Romans.
It's Romans 1:25. Who changed the truth of God into a lie? That's what you want?
Cons, yeah.
It's the book of Romans, chapter 1 and verse 25. Who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen.
Cons. Say again, sir.
Romans 1:25.
125. Okay. So who changed the truth of God into a lie and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator? Whoever is blessed forever. Amen. So who changed the truth of God into a lie? You know what I'm saying? Who told you that, you know what I'm saying, that you no longer have to, you know, keep the law, that Christ did away with the law? No, Christ never said that. We just read what Christ said you had to keep the law. That if you didn't keep it, you taught man not to keep it, that you'll be the least in the kingdom of heaven. We just read that. You know what I'm saying? But there's a group of people out here that are very wicked that have changed the truth of the Most High into a lie. A lie that our people have followed. You know what I'm saying? Who, because they are thirsty for power and are greedy for wealth and money, that they've went along with the lie. Our people have been, to take the saying from Martin Luther King, right? Our people have been led into a burning building, into a burning house. Listen, you don't have to stay in the burning house. Understand? You don't have to be there. You can leave. Right? But you have to, as I always say everything, you have to want it, right? You have to want to be able to leave that burning building. Our people were led there. The Most High, what the Most High saying? He's like, you know what I'm saying? His hand can reach down like if the Most High is reaching out for him to save you. Why don't you take a hold of the Most High's hand? You know what I'm saying? Let him pull you out the burning fire. If you're listening to this class right now, that's what the Most High is doing. He's trying to pull you out of the burning fire, out of the burning house. But you gotta, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta want to take hold of the hand, or you can stay there. But here's my thing: like I would want you to save yourself. I would want you to also be great in the kingdom of heaven. I want all Israel to be great in the kingdom of heaven. I don't want anybody to be the least. That's what I pray. I pray for every Israelite to be great in the kingdom of heaven. That's what I pray for. I don't think y'all should want to be the least in the kingdom of heaven. That's just, you know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it, at least. Well, I could, so can I get a 1 John 2 and 3?
This is the book of 1 John, chapter 2, verse 3. And hereby we do know that we know him, if we keep his commandments.
Right. So spiraling down to the end of this, right? To the end of class. You know the Most High when you keep his commandments. Right. How did we know Christ knew the Most High? Because Christ kept the commandments. How did we know that that Noah knew the Most High? Because he kept the commandments. How do you know Enoch? You know what I'm saying? Kept the commandments. Many men that have been known to who said he knew the Most High kept the commandments. They followed after the law. And when you don't do that, how can you then tell me that you know the Most High? You don't know him. Christ said, in that day, you should come to Christ and you'll tell him how much you did all these beautiful works. You did the food drive. You know what I'm saying? You fed the homeless. You know what I'm saying? You clothed the homeless. You know what I'm saying? You preached every Sunday. You taught a class every Wednesday, Thursday. You know what I'm saying? You went and you spoke out in front of Congress because you think because abortion is wrong. They should have no abortions. You do all these things, right? But then you're still sinning. And when Christ comes, he's going to say, depart from me. I never knew you. Why? Because you never knew. How can you know Christ if you don't know the Most High? Christ kept the commandments. But then you're out here lying on Christ's name that you don't have to keep the commandments. You don't work like that. 15 verse 4.
He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar.
Right. He that says, I know him, and keepeth not the commandments, is a liar. Right. That's outside the book of the Bible, man. If you say that you love the Most High, you know him, you're a liar. That's why Christ told you to depart from him. He said you know him, but you don't know him. In his eyes, you're a liar. Continue.
And the truth is not in him. But whoso keepeth his word, in him verily is the love of God perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him.
Right. You keep the word, you know, the love of God is perfected in you. It is very important that you keep, you know what I'm saying, these law, statutes, and commandments. Right? It's very, very important that you obey the Most High. Most High only knows that you love him if you obey him. Christ only knows that you love him if you obey him. If you're a friend of Christ, then you will obey Christ if you were his friend. But if you don't want to follow the way Christ said you're supposed to follow him, how can you say that you love Christ? You don't. It's like a man, right? That's abusive towards this woman. But he tells her he loves her every day, but he puts his hands on her. You know what I'm saying? She said one small thing and he's throwing a whole fit, smashing plates and breaking bottles and putting his hands on her. But he tells her, but baby, I love you. He can go in there and run a bath with some Epsom salt. I'm sorry, baby, but you know I love you though, right? How is that love? How is that man showing that woman love? He isn't. He hates that woman. He's lying to her all the time. What's it called these days? He's gaslighting her. Listen, you can't gaslight the Most High. All right, you can't tell the Most High that you love him and everything like that, but then you don't obey his words. The Most High is not silly like us. All right, you gotta remember the Most High. You know what I'm saying? He's not a man like us. He sees everything that you do wrong. You can't hide your iniquity. You can't hide your sin from him. It's impossible. So when Christ comes, you're just lying to yourself. You gas on yourself and thinking that you can do evil things and still think Christ will accept you when the time comes when he returns. It's not going to happen. Okay, get a 1 John 5:3.
The book of 1 John chapter 5 and verse 3. For this is the love of God.
Right. This is the love of God. This is how you show and prove that you love God. See?
That we keep his commandments.
That we keep his commandments. That's it. You know, a lot of Christians will tell you that you don't have to keep the commandments that Christ gave, but this just said that you have to keep God's commandments. So which one is it? Do you keep Christ's commandments? Do you keep God's commandments? You see, when people talk about there's contradictions in the Bible, it's because there is no contradiction in the Bible. There's contradictions in Christianity.
Right.
Right? Because you can't then say on one hand that you have to keep Christ's commandments, but then we read right here in 1 John 5:3 that before we love God, we keep his commandments. So then, which one am I supposed to keep? Do I keep Christ's commandments? Do I keep God's commandments? According to the Christian church, you're supposed to keep Christ's commandments. The Christian church says all you have to do is, which is what Christ says, to love the Most as with all your heart, and treat your brother as thyself. That's what the Christian church says. That's all you have to do these days in order to keep the commandments. That's the only commandment that you have to keep. But then my question would be, how has the Christian church showed that they love their brother? I mean, I'm gonna need some solid examples, man, because I've seen multiple ways where they hate you. Listen, the one that sticks out to me, that stuck at me for a long time now, has been that sister. I was going to a church in Alabama. An older sister, she's going to this church for 30 plus years. When she gets sick and end up in the hospital, and she was on there for, I think she was in the hospital for like 2 or 3 months. Because she wasn't there to pay her tithes, the church sent her a letter saying that she's no longer in the church because she wasn't there to pay her tithes. How is that loving thy brother as thyself? You are giving the form of Christianity that you have by your oppressor, but your oppressor enslaved you. He took you away from your culture. Saying he beat you. Then he told you that he told you that if you're good, right, and you're good on earth, then you too can go to heaven. You just have to be a good slave. Christianity has done everything but show that they love God. And if you want to continue to show that you love Him, you make sure that you're also keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. It's not, it's not an option. I just want y'all to be aware of that. I'm gonna end it with this. If I can get a Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 19.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30 and verse 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you.
Right. So Moses talking to the children of Israel, saying that he's called heaven and earth to record this day against you. So he's letting be known that today, this is what's going to happen. I'm making sure that the earth and heaven records what's going to happen from here on out. Keep going.
That I have set before you life and death.
Right. So the record that's against you, that Moses had set before you life and death. He set before you the law that was given unto him to give unto you. So now you have life and death ahead of you. This is the choice that you have. You have life and you have death. Continue.
Blessing and cursing.
You can get a blessing or you can get a cursing. Listen, you can get the blessings and you can be, the Most High will bless you with many things. Or he can curse you. He can punish you. Understand? Continue.
Therefore, choose life.
Therefore what?
Choose life.
Choose what again?
Choose life.
Therefore, it says to choose life. There's not a choice there. So you telling me that the choice that I have is either obey the Lord or die. That's what the world calls an ultimatum. That's what you have. This so-called free will that you think that you have is this right here. You can either choose to choose life and serve the Most High and do as He said, or you can choose death. You can choose to be like those people out there on the street corners right there at the bus stops who are high off their minds. Who are out there begging, people to give them money. Here's one thing I would say real quick, because I read point this out too. How can you be out there vaping but asking for food? Those vape things cost like $6. You can go get you a couple of burgers for $6. But you rather vape instead, though. You rather smoke instead. You know what I'm saying? That's death. You know what I'm saying? That's what that is. He's choosing to die versus getting something that will nourish his body, that will keep him fed, keep him alive another day longer. That's what a lot of people out there have chosen. Listen, I would want for you not to choose any of that. You know what I'm saying? I was only get the other thing, but I think in the class different day. Did you have anything, sir?
Loud to what?
Johnson. So remember, so with that, you know what I'm saying? So we're out here, we're out in Phoenix, Arizona. We are at 12416 North 28th Drive, off of Cactus, across the street from the Quick Trip. We're in the Phoenix area. Make sure you come out. You know what I'm saying? To the classes. Make sure you're online. Make sure you're watching the classes, checking in. Coming up in March, you know what I'm saying? We do have the Feast of Purim. I believe it's going to be the 13th, 14th. Huh? It'll be the 13th and 14th of March. After that is the Passover, which will be held in Atlanta. It is a $200. There's a $200 Passover fee for family for anybody 18 and over. Make sure you come out to Feast of Purim. Make sure you come out to the Passover. It'll be a good time. It'll be a lot of brothers and sisters coming together. This Passover is a beautiful thing. If you have not gone, you should definitely come out. You know what I'm saying? It's you know what I'm saying? I can't really explain the Passover, man. You really got to come out and be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? We got a bunch of events lined up. The itinerary for the Passover week is already out and circulating through the web. All right, but with that, shalom.